I'm Edie Lush, and I'm here inside the Guildhall in London at the Innovate Finance Conference, and I'm really pleased to be joined by Ann Barefoot, and she's from Barefoot Innovation and a senior fellow at the Kennedy School at Harvard University. Thanks for coming along.
My pleasure. It's great to be here.
Now, tell me first of all what you find interesting about regulation in the United Kingdom.
The United Kingdom, and I'm speaking as a former regulator myself in the United States, has taken the lead globally in figuring out how to regulate technology innovation in a way that will foster financial inclusion and financial fairness and new kinds of competition. And it's not an overstatement to say that it's been a really remarkable story of regulatory boldness. Regulators, and I'm speaking as a former one, are not known for their being out there innovating, but the Financial Conduct Authority here really is the world leader in trying to look at technology that might make consumers' lives better, figure out where the regulatory mechanisms might be in the way, and try to fix that.
So give me an example about how they're innovating.
One of the things they've done is they've created what they call a regulatory sandbox, which is now being copied around the world in various forms. There are at least a dozen or so emerging, probably closer to 20. And they're inviting innovative companies, startups as well as existing banks, to come in, tell them about a new idea that would be better for consumers where there might be regulation in the way of allowing something to happen, or at least unclarity about the regulation. And then they're letting them come in, they're running experiments and tests to see whether the product helps consumers, what possible risks there are, and then they're going to make decisions on what they can allow that's going to break the old molds in finance.
And what are the stakes here? Because how many people are currently without access to a bank, and where is the world trying to get to?
So globally, there are about 2 billion people who have no access to what we would think of as mainstream financial services, even for payments. And the World Bank has set a goal of having access for every adult to something that functions like a bank account by the year 2020, which is 3 years from now.
Are we going to get there?
We may not get there by 2020, but we're going to get there for sure because of the ubiquity of mobile phones and the fact that everyone on Earth is being connected to a payment system and to financial services through their phone. And this is unlocking massive amounts of commerce. It's going to help alleviate poverty. It's going to help people just live healthier financial lives.
So what do you see as the biggest challenges or roadblocks or opportunities? Is it deciding who the person is, identifying them?
There are a lot of challenges around identity, yes. People who don't have traditional credentials, passports in the United States, a social security number, have a lot more trouble establishing themselves. That is being solved by technology as well. In India, there's a project that is known as the India Stack, or the India Tech Stack, which has included getting biometric identity information on everybody. They've done about 1.2 billion people. So even if you're illiterate, you can identify yourself in India and then be able to get a bank account or pay for something. Pros and cons on all of this, of course. So there's a lot of regulatory challenges also around privacy, data security that are emerging, but the big opportunity is to get everybody connected and able to buy, sell, borrow, prove who they are, and connect to the rest of the world.
And you mentioned India as one of the places at the forefront in the identity side of it. Where else do you see as countries that are making big strides?
One of the most exciting, famous situations is Kenya, where M-Pesa emerged a number of years back and began to connect people to payments opportunities through their mobile phones. That model has been widely emulated now around the world. But there's really, throughout Asia and Africa, an interesting thing to me about it as someone based in the United States is that in many ways the developing world is far more advanced than the developed world, partly because people adopted mobile technology faster and in a more widespread way. And therefore, the regulators have had to think about how do you really regulate new commerce and financial activity rather than through the traditional sort of slow methods that we've always had in the past where people are going to banks. But even in the United States and the UK and Europe, there are a lot of people who don't have good access to good financial services.
Joanne, thank you very much for stopping by my basement podcasting and broadcasting studio.
I've enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm Edie Lush.